John Brennan again with MMA T Company. Fighter Spotlight today. I have Jace Kendle, the Art of War, I believe, 165-pound champion.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
yeah, it's weird.
It is, yeah. Hopefully they add that weight class, though. That's a nice weight class.
Yeah, it was real nice on me, I'll tell you.
So, Jace, you usually fight at, what, 55?
Yeah, that's what I started out doing. My first two fights were at 55.
And then you went to 65, had that kind of catch weight, catch weight fight for Art of War. And
Yeah.
you, like you said, it was real nice getting to that weight. Do you plan on sticking around that 165, 170 mark, or do you plan on going back down to 55 when all this, blows over and we can get back in the cage?
I don't know. I mean, I've put on some weight, not like fat-wise. I hope not fat-wise. I don't look fat, but I have put on like some weight since I came back home and I was training. And even now, like, I think I got a little bigger. So I'm walking around right now like 180, 182.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Probably staying at 65. I'd like to stay at 65. But if there is no avenue for that later on, then I will be more than willing to go to 55 again.
Got you. But, I mean, those boys at 170 are big.
Yeah, real big. I'm not that big, and I am not that strong. I'm 55 because I'm the taller guy. Like, I look kind of like a giant, so I look very weird too because I've seen myself and I look so skinny, and I got my lanky arms just hanging around. It's real weird, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll never experience that being the tall guy. Even if I would go to 35, I'd be, just 5'8".
Yeah, well, what are you walking around at?
I mean, I actually lost some weight during quarantine, I think because I haven't been able to be lifting, and I've just been, like, riding my bike. So kind of set a goal of riding 50 miles and running 10 a week. And I'm, like, 163, 164. So 45 is where I plan on living for a while.
Nice.
I was up at 55, and that was just when I was like, I'm not getting paid. I'm an amateur. I don't want to cut weight. And I would just, like, walk in and step on the scale, and that was awesome. Then I learned a very valuable lesson my pro debut when Will Dill hit me at 160 pounds, and the very first punch that he threw landed flush, and I was dazed instantly, and I don't want to get hit by big boys again.
Yeah, he was a real big boy. I was surprised that he made 55 or 60.
Yeah, 60. I don't know how he did either because he dwarfed me on the scales, but he did, and we had a good fight, so it was fun. But I learned a lesson very, very quick there in my, 0-1 pro career.
Yeah.
So we were talking a little bit, offline about, the fights over the weekend, and you had mentioned that you liked it without the crowd. Why do you think it was better without the crowd there?
Way better without the crowd because first off, you could hear like every shot. Every hit, you could hear the glove on bone, just that sweet sound. But also because there wasn't anybody, like we had said before the Luque and Price fight, everybody would have been on their feet screaming, right? And that would have been great. But when it comes to like fights like the Rosa Mitchell fight, that everybody would be booing so bad. And that was a great fight. Like, I hate it when people boo, or like you're in a bar and you hear someone say, well, just stand them up. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about, man.
I just had Gordon Wingington on yesterday, and we were talking about the stand-em-up guys and how they would have been so mad watching that fight. But coming from, MMA fighters and people with grappling backgrounds, that was the most exciting fight of the night for me. I would put that up there with the Gaethje fight, just because of what he was able to do on the ground. And Rosa's no slouch. I mean, that guy's a stud grappler, and he made Rosa look like he had not grappled before.
It's that Arkansas strength.
It is, yeah. He earned those camo shorts.
He did.
So we were also talking a little bit offline about just, what we're able to do now that we can't train. And you had just mentioned that, you recently got back, from what I had assumed was basic training for the National Guard.
Yeah, so the way that works is you get put on active duty. So even if you're National Guard, you're going with people that are going to be regular Army.
Mhm.
And that was I did 2 months, 2.5 months of that because it's 10 weeks, and then I had 18. It felt like 20 weeks, but I think it was 18 weeks of my AIT. So I was gone for a whole 7 months, and
Mhm.
my whole 2019 was shot. So.
Okay, got you. And you, when you were gone, before you came back, was everything with coronavirus and COVID-19, was that starting while you were gone, or were you already home when that happened?
No, I got home in October.
Oh, okay.
I got home in October, and I mean, I can't imagine. I've seen pictures, and I
Hmm.
can't imagine how annoying it must be for everybody that's at like a training area right
Hmm.
now. Because I know for a while they were holding people, like they couldn't leave. They weren't allowed to leave for like a good like 3 weeks. So if you ended up graduating, you had to stay,
Oh, wow.
and that would have sucked so bad.
I'm sure, yeah. So I'm glad that you were able to make it back. And then we were talking about you're working now, and kind of getting things as much back in order as we can with the circumstances that are going on. I know you had mentioned when we originally talked and we had signed you, that you're not going to be fighting in the immediate future, just with being active duty and in the guard and whatnot. Um, when you're able to get back to fighting, um, what are your plans moving forward? Do you have like a long-term trajectory of I want to get this many wins and then I want to go pro, or I want to fight this person, or anything that kind of sticks out in your mind?
Um, person wise, yeah. I mean, they they I say Mike Bicken,
Hmm.
he had offered me a fight that I really wanted to take, but I had just gotten back home, and to prepare for that person would have been it would have been tough in such a short time. Yeah, because they're really good. It's Garbarino, it's Joe Garbarino.
Mm-hmm.
Really good fighter. Really good fighter. Really would enjoy having a fight with him. Just just because I feel like that's a good test, you know? Real good test. He's good all around. I know he trains out in Philly with Balance MMA. Like that would be real tough fight, and that would be an enjoyable fight. You know, I don't know what happened. I saw the weigh-ins when he fought Avery Sanchez.
Hmm.
I saw that and I was like, "What's going on?" You know, like I never get the anger thing. It's
Hmm.
not fighting isn't really about anger. It's just a fun thing to do. And honestly, I don't care if win lose. That doesn't really matter. Um, I just like to do it. It's the same thing with belts. Like when I was first starting grappling and I was a white belt, I was like 6 months in and I'm thinking like, why don't I have my blue belt? Like, but then you slowly realize like it's not about belts. It's just about going out there and doing it.
Hmm.
So it doesn't really matter win, lose. I mean, it's nice that I've won
Hmm.
and I have a belt like with an organization, but
Yeah,
I
I
mean, I
mean,
don't hang it up anywhere.
mine are just at the gym. I give them to Damien, and I'm like, you can do whatever you want with them.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's
and it's funny you say that, because when we've been on the same card, right? You and I've always noticed, are some of the most just laid back and relaxed people in the back.
yeah.
I don't find fighting to be something where I have to go out and have animosity against the person. It's the ultimate sport to me. You lock two guys in a cage with a ref, and is my skill set better than yours? Did I prepare to beat you on that night? Is that kind of your mentality going into the fight? Because I've just noticed when we're in the back, we kind of keep the same like laid back, relaxed mentality through the night.
Well, what really helps is like all the joking, and especially if the Carr brothers are
I
there.
was just gonna say that if the Carr brothers are there, you can't help but laugh.
Yeah, yeah, it's nonstop laughs. I know when I fought on the CES 52 in Philly,
Mhm.
and they were not fighting, and they came back and they were talking to me, and I was like, oh man, I'm so glad these guys are here. Like, it was great. It really like set me mellow, helped me set me mellow. And then we were getting ready. It was the first. It was so weird having like a camera put in your face as you're walking down. But like right before, they're like, you guys have to stop here, and then we'll give you the okay to get up the steps and walk out there. And we're like, all right. And one of the guys that was with me, Mike Diggs, he was like, you're gonna kill this guy. You're gonna do great. He goes, you're gonna go out there, no mercy, and just trying to hype me up. And I looked at him and I was like, Mike, relax, man. Okay. It's all good.
It is,
Like
and that's. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say he was getting a little nervous or a little hyped up. Like he was hyping himself up.
But I'm always that way when I'm cornering people. I'd much rather fight any night of the week than have to go out there. And I mean, I love cornering Christian, corner any of the fighters that are at our gym, but it's a different mentality, a different mindset for me. I get like physically shaky and nervous when I'm cornering people. I don't know why or what the distinction is. You would think that when I'm actually fighting, I'd be more nervous, but for some reason, cornering is way more nerve-wracking to me.
I ended up cornering somebody. I won't say who it is, but I ended up cornering somebody by myself because nobody else was available to do it. And they asked me, they're like, hey, can you do it? And I was like, okay, well, let's see how this goes. I did so poorly that I was calling him the wrong name during the fight. And I was like, oh, no, because there's somebody else that we trained with. And I was like, I was calling him that name. And I was like, oh. Like I just, middle of the fight, I'm looking around like, why isn't he listening to me? And I'm realizing like, oh, I'm calling him like Kyle. Like that's not his name. Nowhere close.
But I've had some doozies too. The first time I ever cornered, I cornered Zach Kelly, and I don't think I said a word the entire time. Yeah. I just was in shock. And Damien, he's always so quiet when he's cornering, so we did Zach a disservice that night. I think he ended up winning anyway, but we didn't do a great job.
I mean,
so
I've never really spoken to Damien, but Damien just is another person that just seems so relaxed.
He's not.
He's not?
No, when he's cornering, he's a big ball of nerves. Any other time throughout his life, he's super relaxed, but in the backstage, he's always nervous.
No, okay. All right. Maybe it's just me. Maybe
he plays it off well then.
Yeah. A good poker face.
Exactly. So, you talked about that Garbarino fight being, something that you want. And then a win there would put you at 5-0?
Yeah. Yeah,
that puts you at 5-0. Do you have aspirations to go pro? Is that something you're looking to, off in the distance?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's definitely that's been my goal for years now. For years. Even before starting striking. I was like, I'm gonna do this. And even regardless of career, like I know I've talked to one of the instructors at my gym, and he was like, aspirations kind of change when you get money. Like usually the driving factor for a lot of people that are successful in the sport is money, right? And once you kind of have that, you're thinking through another route, you're thinking, why am I getting hit in the face? But I really like this. And right now I'm making some pretty decent money, but even still, like I am upset that I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? Like right now I'm not legally allowed to, I think.
We think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but any chance that I can come back, I will. And pro is definitely where I want to be. Like I would lie to say I'm envious. I'm not envious of like Miles Lee being in CFFC and like guys doing these big cards. Like I'm like, oh man, I really want to be there. Like I really want to get there. So
yeah, and I mean that fight with Johnny Garber, if that gets set up, that could put you on your trajectory, to start that climate and make those moves. And down where you're training, you're surrounded by a pretty solid camp, right? And you have some good instructors, good training partners, and people that have been there before. And I think that's something that's really important too, is surrounding yourself with people that can kind of guide you in a way to say, this is a good move, this would be a smart fight, things along those lines to really set you up for a successful career.
Right. And I got really lucky in meeting my coaches. Well, I have Jack, I have Tyler, and I have Manny. And I got really lucky meeting them because I started jujitsu with my brother, and then a year later I ran a guy that was going to the gym there. His name's Aaron, and he ended up being like, "Hey, I used to train with these guys that have this gym," and I was like, "Oh, well that's close to me." So I got to HKA, and it's literally like a loft. And I was like, "I'll be in here on Tuesday." And they're like, "All right." And I show up Tuesday, and nobody's there, right? Because they do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I was like, "This is awkward." But I came in on Wednesday, and Wednesday was a Manny Rose practice, and I couldn't jump rope. Like, I felt really dumb. Could not jump rope. Had zero striking experience. So they kind of helped me grow and build me up to where I am now. And I'm really thankful, and I'm just really lucky that I got there.
Yeah, and they work with a lot of fighters in our area, and Manny's helped a lot of guys get their striking to where they want it to be. Blaine comes to mind. Blaine's last CES fight, he credited Manny with just his ability to let his hands go with. Which I think is something a lot of people who are grappling heavy, they have a tendency to not want to exchange and not let their hands go. So Manny really helped him out with that, and your striking has come a long way in each of your fights. It's always fun to see where you're going to be at your next fight, in terms of just the progressions that you make. And that's one of the things that I really like about regional MMA is I'm not in the gym with you training every day. So then when I get to see you fight your next fight, I'm like, let's see what Jace has been working on. Let's see if he fixed some of the things that didn't work for him last fight. And so far every time you have, and it's just been a fun progression to watch.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I know most people like looking at me wouldn't assume. I know also, I mean, it became evident the first time when I had an interview with Bob Maloney. He was like, "You look like a mailman or a computer man." Like, oh, well, yeah, I guess. Like, no, people don't have a receding hairline, so.
Yeah, Johnny Hendricks did okay with his.
Yeah, he did. Kind of looked like he had a beer gut though a lot.
Yeah, towards the end of his career, I think he was more worried about steaks than he was worried about sprints.
Yeah, he's doing a good old Roy Nelson.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to getting back in the cage. I know you are too. Hopefully we can be on the same card when this all blows over. The first one that Bickings throws out there, I think there's going to be about 500 messages in his inbox of, hey, I want to fight on that card.
He's going to be super busy.
I know.
Because everybody's going to be craving it. And that was very evident with like the fights this past weekend. I mean,
I had never known so many people that were on my Facebook and Twitter timelines that even watched MMA. And maybe they didn't until that fight was on, because it was literally the only live sport in the last 6 weeks or so.
Yeah.
But I think it put a lot of eyes on what MMA is, and a lot of eyes that aren't usually on it. And there were some pretty good fights that might have drawn some people in to be fans and maybe fighters in the future.
Great fights. It's way better. It's way better than football. Way better than baseball. I mean, who watches golf?
Awesome. So hopefully we'll get on that card soon. I'll be in touch. Looking forward to trying to come down to HK and mixing it up with you guys when this all blows over.
Yeah, I'd love that, man. It'd be great.
Awesome. All right, let's set it up. I'll be in touch. Jace, it was a pleasure, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, man. See you soon.
Bye.